Hey guys, welcome to County Wild. It's Taylor and
Chris.
woo, we're doing one of these again. So
Yeah.
so thank you for falling for the clickbait title, which I will probably put on this video. But so where this discussion is coming from is that The Note did a story on Half-Life 3 and there's a rumor from an inside source, air quotes, that Half-Life 3, the development team is down to 10 people. It's essentially a skeleton crew, and that they're trying to let it die, essentially. Now, it is just a rumor, and one reason was financial, because Valve does not need money.
No, definitely not.
They make money off of other people now, so I mean, it's like they don't even need to release Half-Life 3. I mean, they're probably.
Are you talking about paid mods or?
Yeah, paid mod. Well, no.
That's over now. I was gonna say, if that's what you were referencing.
No,
that's
like, I'm just saying, like, third-party sales, stuff like that. Like,
new hack DLC.
I know. So, and the other half was kind of interesting in that they're worried about the hype because, as the quote-unquote inside source says, is that they're worried that if they release the game, it will only cause more harm because the hype is so substantial at this point. And they also referenced the Mass Effect 3 incident, which was that whole ending debacle where the entire, well, not the entire fan base, I want to say like a good 30% of the fan base turned around and said, "Your ending sucks, we want a new one." And yes, I was part of that group, and I apologize.
I remain a neutral party.
He remains Switzerland in this.
Well, their flag is a big plus.
See? And so... And then... So on top of this particular story of Half-Life 3 not being released because, essentially, I guess we're bad people, also, on top of this, there was a little bit of a stir on Steam, well, not on Steam, but a stir in the PC gaming community as Total Biscuit created a curation group specifically to show what games were locked at 30 FPS. And to be fair, they did show that you could mod some of them and all that, but that sort of begs the question because Half-Life 3 is not being released because, if the rumor is to be believed, because of the whole Mass Effect 3 incident and worrying that gamers will turn on their own franchise. And also, we have this thing over here where gamers are going out and showing games that are locked at a quote-unquote inferior frame rate. So it begs the question...
Quote-unquote inferior frame rate. Quote-unquote.
Well, okay, it's genuinely an inferior frame rate. I shouldn't have said quote-unquote. That was my bad.
Thank you. I play PC games. 60 frames is where it's at.
I know.
Even though if my footage doesn't come across with that, because OBS won't take 60 frames.
So, with all that said, the question is now raised to us. Are gamers ruining video games?
Well, that's an interesting question, Taylor. Allow me to answer that like a politician and ask, who isn't ruining video games? These progressive new media types have always been, they've always said that gamers are evil when video games cause violence. Now they're saying that video games cause misogyny, and they just really want an open market with this whole girl gamer thing. And it's like, well, okay, fine, but if we let the girls play video games, next thing you're gonna know, they're gonna let dogs play video games. They're called thumbsticks, Taylor, it's not paw sticks.
And for the internet out there, yes, he was being satirical.
Yes. I saw a Chris Christie panel today and it kind of pissed me off.
Well, at least it's better than a Donald Trump panel, so...
Okay, let's veer away from this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we've already dug a big hole right now. So, I guess I'll start.
Sure.
I don't know. I kind of agree with this sentiment. I say yes with an asterisk. Not all gamers are ruining video games. Not all of them.
Hashtag not all gamers, my lady.
Oh my god, we're in trouble. Not all gamers are ruining it, but we do have a very loud minority that is making it very hostile for developers, making it even hostile for the actual majority that just enjoys games. It's very, it's not what it used to be. And referencing the No article, the quote-unquote inside source said that,
which I think will be hilarious if the inside source is like The Onion, because that would just be great.
That'd be great. Turns out it's Gabe Newell. That'd be weird. But the inside source says nowadays, and I'm somewhat quoting him here, gamers nowadays are just shitheads. And that was probably not the nicest thing to say, but I can sort of agree with the sentiment, because if you go on if you looked at Destiny or Watch Dogs, people were tearing those games up for, they were giving them zeros on Metacritic, they were trashing them on Amazon. Now, not all gamers were doing this, but there's this minority that just went out and just gave them zeros because they didn't get everything they wanted out of the hype train.
Yeah.
And so, it needs to be looked at, and it's like women in video games, it's like journalistic integrity. It needs to be looked at and discussed, but we can't, but the way we're doing it nowadays, it's very volatile, it's very toxic, there's not really a whole lot of discussion going on, especially in YouTube comment sections.
Yeah.
It's just, the best way I could sort of explaining it, it's like a pissing match mixed in with a pissing contest, where the objective is to try to out-piss the pissy person next to you.
And then someone shits on the floor.
And then someone shits on the floor. Damn it.
There we go. I've been trying to get him to corpse this whole episode.
I know, so... No, I almost lost it during the Republican satire thing, but I stayed strong.
I just want to point out, me satirizing the Republicans, I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. So,
but... I'm Green Party. I shouldn't have admitted that. Again, it's this minority we always need to discuss. It's never, the actual, majority that's having a nice civil discussions, sitting down over tea and, I assume, gummy bears. That's what I sit down. That's what I sit down and discuss over, is tea and gummy bears. It's a good combination, by the way. Don't diss it.
Sugar-free gummy bears? Because, a lot of sites are spewing shit.
Am I gonna have to link that Amazon review now?
Nah, I'm pretty sure they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Ooh, intestinal jet propellant. That still gets me every time. So, it's really this minority, I think, and the minority has gotten bigger, but I think it's proportionate. It's where as more gamers come in, there's this louder minority, and yeah, they're getting bigger, but so is the good guys too, or not the good guys, but the other side that's not being douches. But we do need to have a discussion about it, because it is hostile to be a developer nowadays. It's very, you look at Arkham Knight, they got blasted on PC, but to be honest, they deserved that. That was a very well-deserved blasting.
That was just a very difficult week for me for various reasons.
I know, you couldn't be Batman.
Well, I don't pre-order games, so I never even got to play it. I was like, Arkham Knight, yeah! Now I gotta go on consoles with my shitty 30 frames per second crap.
I'm sorry, Turtle Biscuit.
God. Oh,
Well, and then there's that. There's this whole, it's, now we're nitpicking things.
And I'm being satirical. All I want is Arkham Knight to be a good game. I don't care if it runs at 30 or 60, I own a PS3, I own a PS2, and a GameCube. Or not GameCube, sorry, N64. Why did I say GameCube? Point being, I don't really care about the graphics or anything in that in a game. A game needs to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep repeating myself throughout this entire discussion. It's not the majority, it's this very loud, obnoxious minority. It's kind of like that grandmother you have that does not realize her opinion is irrelevant now.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I went there. What you gonna do about it? Am I going into my own personal issues here?
Yeah, maybe.
Just a little bit. So, again, it's this minority. It's this it's this group of people that no matter what you do, Half-Life 3 could be literally perfect, but there's this one glitch in this one room where the particle effects are giving you free blowjobs, and it unfortunately drops the frame rate down to 59.999999999, and people would have a pissing match about that. That's sort of the culture we live in.
Some people would, but honestly, if you're doing that, you're just an asshole.
I know.
I'm sorry. I know that's not very nice to say. being a gamer. And I mean, I've legitimately criticized some games before, but again, that's legitimately criticized. And it's like, oh, my frame rate's not right. It's like, oh, the story was a little lacking. We could have done better with this.
Oh, there's a difference between criticism and being a douche.
Right.
Like, criticism is like what you just said. I was not a fan of the story. I thought it was lackluster. That's a criticism. This, oh my god, the story sucked. I'm cancel pre-order. That's just being a douche. That's just, you're being that guy. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Or,
pretty much. Sums it up.
Like, oh my god, Destiny has a 13-hour story. Fuck you guys if you like it. Just, I like how that's my troll voice. I don't know what that is, but that's my new troll voice now. It's a criticism is where you point something out and say, okay, I did not like this. It was a lackluster story. Or with Arkham Knight, too much tank drones, way too many tank drones. See, the criticisms don't disqualify the rest of the game.
But yeah, I get you. People, between criticism and just plain on being a flame bait troll douche canoe person.
So we need to, in my opinion, we need to sort of, like, you can't really police this particular group, like, because they'll, like, if you, like, try to ban them from a website, they'll make their own, or they'll move on to a new subreddit, or whatever,
or Twitter. Zing.
And if you like, try to, like, even if you found a way to censor them, you yourself become a douche, because sometimes, even though they have a horrible way of putting it, sometimes that minority has a point.
Yeah.
Like with Arkham Knight with the PC, that was a horrible port. I feel bad for any PC player that pre-ordered that.
Yeah, Arkham Knight PC was just god awful. I mean, I speak from just what I've seen and everything. Like, I never actually got a chance to play it, but just watching gameplay footage, it's like, really, this mess got, any coverage whatsoever?
I'm like, the QA tester, where was he? Did he just, like, leave the room for 2 weeks and like, write a report and, like, here you go, we're good? So it's... Now, there's a way to criticize that, and the minority kind of takes a little too far with death threats and all that, but you can't... While they themselves need to be a bit more diplomatic, we can't just completely turn around and say, oh, your opinion is disqualified because you used a dirty word.
Yeah.
So it's a very weird balancing game that we sort of need to work on. It's like one part education, one part, trying to get the nice people or the less douchey people to be a little more vocal and be
right.
And try to focus more on actual discussion.
Yeah. Like, I've been seeing, just out of a personal experience, been seeing a lot of flame for Battlefront 3. And one of the biggest complaints I heard was every single Star Wars game has sucked so far. Really? I mean, like, really? Has every Star Wars game that has ever been made sucked?
No.
My dad says yes, but my dad's also not really a big Star Wars kind of guy, so...
Well,
but anyway, like, I mean, think of it. Battlefront 2, Knights of the Old Republic, and I'm not talking the new MMO. I'll admit that the new MMO is pretty...
lackluster.
It's not an MMO? What is it then?
Lackluster.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the original PS2 game. Or... God, I can't remember what all consoles that came on.
I think it was Xbox.
No, it was on the PS2 as well. No? Hold on, I gotta Google it now. Because I remember playing it on, I think, the original Xbox. Yeah.
But yeah, it was... feedback.
Yeah.
But as he's Googling this... Okay, see, that works a little bit better. Okay, it's not...
Oh, here we go. It was on the Xbox and Windows, so yeah, I played it on the original Xbox. Okay.
So...
Never mind. But still, point being that everybody's like, every Star Wars game has sucked, and it's like, there have been several awesome, Star Wars games. The Force Unleashed, Battlefront 2, Rogue Squadron, Shadows of the Empire.
Pod Racer.
I mean, Pod Racer. Why do you have to make these broad, sweeping generalizations just because you don't particularly like something?
I think it's and this may explain some of it. I think it's a knee-jerk reaction because I'm not gonna lie, and Chris can attest to this. Unfortunately, I was mad at the Mass Effect 3 ending. I was mad.
Yeah, you're justified with that, though. It's a series you have, common ground to, which I understand the fear that people who love the Battlefront series are worried the Battlefront 3 is gonna suck because guess who's making it?
Eater.
Yep. And honestly, from what I've seen, it's like there's no space battles. What? No space battles? Ruined forever. And it's like, maybe, it'll get patched in later.
Well,
Shut up, Dad. I know EA will do it as DLC, but I'm thinking of an alternative option.
get patched in later.
My dad's like a concert heckler. Jesus.
Anyway, something free. That's funny.
But I'm just thinking like sure there's not space battles, but really think back to Battlefront 2. Really think back. What did a space battle mostly consist of? Because for me, it consisted of me flying around in a bunch of empty space in a huge map, not running into anyone, and then the other half of the time is me not being in a spaceship because every douche canoe and their mom keeps stealing them.
Yeah, it was kind of like waiting in the line at the DMV to get your X-wing. It was.
Yeah.
It's like and you would see it and you start sprinting because you knew the AI was going to be a jerk and jump in it and and it happened almost every time. So it was. So you either ended up, stuck waiting, manning a turret, shooting at a little red blip on the radar, or you got lucky and flew around for a bit, shot some stuff and died and had to repeat the whole process.
Or if you were like 10-year-old me, literally died every 5 seconds because 10-year-old me had very poor motor control and sucked at video games. So. You could still argue, based on Cody Wild content, that I still suck at video games. You're entitled to that opinion.
See?
I think I'm okay.
I am just good enough to get the game started.
Pretty much.
I know where the start button is, and I'm doing good so far. I mean, these broad general sweeps are, like with the Star Wars series, or not series, but games.
Mm-hmm.
It's knee-jerk. I think the current atmosphere and environment we're in, unlike 2000 or even like early 2005 when the internet was still not quite as immense, these knee-jerk reactions were kind of by yourself. You didn't have a cell phone in your pocket. You didn't have.
You couldn't like go to Twitter and express your discomfort over something.
And yeah, but nowadays a lot of people have cell phones with internet access, Twitter access, even Reddit access. And so these knee-jerk reactions, you have a vehicle to immediately express it, and that makes things a bit more hostile than they used to because.
Not to mention the people that just act like douches because they think it's funny.
Yeah, like me. If you watch Let's Plays, you'll know that is very true. It's these knee-jerk reactions, and I think that's a lot of it. So, to those out there that, like me, got cranky with the Mass Effect 3 ending, or getting cranky with how long Half-Life 3 is taking, or is cranky because Arkham Knight did not work on PC, even though you guys are completely justified. Take a minute to calm down and think about it. And if it makes you that mad, speak with your wallet, don't buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
And or go to Kickstarter. It turns out Kickstarter has a lot of good stuff coming out now. The Castlevania dude is there now. The original Castlevania guy's there.
Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number 9. I think Double.
Which I've been hearing some bad things about that, but I'm not sure. I haven't been following.
Shenmue 3, which is kind of sketchy, but it's still there. Shenmue 3 still may be a thing.
Yeah.
So, to answer the big question, are gamers ruining video games?
No.
No. Majority, no. That awkward minority that's gotten a lot louder over the years, they're making it hard.
But really, my best advice to my fellow gamers who are tired of the flaming gamers who just want to fight and cause a ruckus and complain about every single game that comes out, don't listen to those guys. Play the games you want.
And if you really want to, you know, rain on their parade, support the developers. You know, if you see a developer getting harassed, get your buddies together and do like Gaming for Hugs campaign, where you go out to beleaguered developers and like send them nice tweets and birthday stuff, and it's
great. Now we actually have to start this organization. Thanks, Taylor.
what, hashtag Hugs for Gamers?
Yeah.
Woo!
We have a Coyote Wild Twitter. We can do that. Yes.
So, you know, go to our first person we're going to do this for. We're going to do it for the EA CEO.
No.
But the thing is, if he wants us to do it, he has to pay us $20 up front and then $15 a month afterwards. And we do offer microtransactions to stop that little annoying little time wall. So, hey.
See, I thought you said we were talking about the CEO of EA, but then you said $15 a month, and it's clear you're talking about Blizzard.
Not commenting. That's another let's discuss.
I like World of Warcraft. Honestly, I do, but I haven't played through this expansion yet. But I've been there for a very, very long time, and I've just kind of gotten bored with it. I guess it's not really Blizzard's fault. It's just
it's old. It's an old game.
It's the Pokemon thing. Like when Pokemon Black and White came out, I just didn't want anything to do with it, and I thought it was because the design sucked and the gameplay sucked. But then I played X and Y, and I was like, okay, I still like Pokemon. This is a good sign.
So, yeah, I was the same way. I thought Black was just getting too old for it. Nope, designs suck. No offense, Nintendo.
I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of Gen 5 Pokemon were cool when I like them, like Zip Striker and Revengefless. But you know, still. There's these two Pokemon that were in Geese, and it was the blue one. I can't remember his name. Sock?
Yeah, Sock. I liked Sock. I hated his name, but I liked his character design.
It's better than Throw.
I liked Throw too.
No, I'm saying the names.
Yeah. Sock and Throw. I mean, they're funny, kind of funny, but they're stupid.
Anyway, in closing.
In closing, it's not the majority of ruining video games, it's this loud vocal minority that's making it harder. And I know it's dangerous to say that set of words, ask BioWare, loud vocal minority.
Oh, I thought you were just saying minority, and I was like, yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, we're not going to go there. But again, that's my thoughts. It's just this loud vocal minority that's making it, that's gotten a little too loud as of late. They can pull back.
Yeah.
Hashtag hug for gamers. No, gamers for hugs. That's it.
Hashtag gamers for hearts.
Yeah. So, Chris, your final thoughts.
Don't be a douche.
Simple, but to the point.
Yeah.
So, this has been a Coyote Wild Let's Discuss.
I'm Chris.
I'm Taylor, and you listened to us rant for 20-something minutes. Thank you.
At least we kept it under 30.
Woo!